In this video, we are going to explore what the best puppy food is for your French Bulldog. This can be one of the most important pieces of advice you can get and something that might potentially save you thousands of dollars over the course of your Frenchie's life. Now, as you probably know by now, French Bulldogs are very prone to having allergies and other health issues. And food, let me tell you, is one of the pillars, is one of the cornerstones of a dog's health. So you finding out what the best puppy food is for your Frenchie will definitely set them up for success in life. Now, there's a few variations that I want you to consider whenever we talk about dog food and puppy food. Now, there are hundreds and hundreds of brands out there. There's so much noise. Everyone is trying to tell you something. Everyone is trying to sell you something. But from now on, from this very moment, you and I are going to read all the ingredients for everything we give our Frenchie. For everything we give our puppy, we are going to turn every single bag of food. Whether we are talking about food, whether we are talking about treats, whatever we are talking about when it comes to your Frenchie's diet, I want you to turn that bag of food over. And if you see anything that is too processed, ultra processed, and that should not be in pet food, just put it away, because it might be detrimental to your dog's diet. Now, instead of going through every single brand there is, I want you to give you some really good guidelines that will help you over the course of your Frenchie's life. The first one is that there are a few ingredients that tend to be inflammatory and potentially really bad for your dog. What are we talking about? We are talking about things that are hard for your dog to digest. We can see that there's a lot of ultra processed foods that come from the human food chain that aren't very good for dogs, and in the big quantities that manufacturers now put them in dog food. So it is very important that wheat gluten, corn, barley, rice, too much sweet potato, too much oats in a dog food don't really play a part in your dog's diet. Grains are hard to digest. Things like rice need to be cooked in order for your dog to absorb them, and it isn't biologically appropriate. Any wheat, any barley, any corn, any soy, any rice, I would put that aside. Even if the bag of dog food says that it's tailored for your Frenchie, even if the bag of food tells you that it's specifically tailored for something, do not believe manufacturers. Always read the ingredients, and that is definitely a killer tip for your French Bulldog. The second thing I want to talk to you about is something called very vague ingredients and additives in pet food, and these are things to also stay away from. We now know from experience that dog food manufacturers will put things like meat and animal derivatives or pork flavor or chicken flavor in the food. These are additives, these are colorants, these are things that we do not want to see in dog food. If I want my dog to have chicken, the bag of dog food should have deboned chicken or freshly prepared free-range chicken, as opposed to chicken flavor or chicken meal or chicken liver flavor, for example. There's a very clear distinction, and it is not always obvious to the untrained eye. So if we see something like meat and animal derivatives, we know that that is an extremely vague thing for us to see, and therefore we won't want to give it to our French Bulldog. So no meat and animal derivatives and no sugar or dextrose in the food. Now, in order to make it a bit more palatable to our Frenchies, or to our dogs for that matter, So many manufacturers have been adding sugars or various sugars or dextrose or things like emulsifiers and things that don't really do anything but enhance the palatability of the kibble. I don't know you, but I don't want my dog eating any sugar. It isn't biologically appropriate and it's something that should stay away from your dog's diet. Now that we have discarded a few of the ingredients, a few inflammatory ingredients that we don't want in our dog's diet, let's talk about the different forms of food that we can give our dog. There's essentially three. You have kibble, you have wet food, or you have raw dog food. In any case, I want to give you some guidance. If you are feeding your dog kibble or anything canned, make sure the first few ingredients come from animal sources, meaning we want to see freshly prepared free-range chicken, dried lamb, we want to see deboned turkey, we want to see organ meats, things like heart or liver or kidney. Anything that's meaty is phenomenal for our dogs. Remember that a kilo of lamb is always going to be more expensive than a kilo of rice or a kilo of wheat. Therefore, we want to pay for meat sources. So whether you are choosing a dry dog food or a wet dog food, those first ingredients should be always meaty. And the first few ingredients or any ingredients whatsoever should stay away from a lot of those that I have been telling you about in the first portion of the video. So no wheat, no barley, no corn, no meat and animal derivatives, and no sugar. And your French Bulldog will be as healthy as a little bull. If you are wanting to feed your dog something raw, make sure it's appropriate for your dog, that you are a responsible raw dog feeder, and that you actually follow the 80-10-10 whole prey ratios. And I have made a few videos around this topic, so I'm not gonna delve on that right now. In a nutshell, if we are looking at an allergy prone dog, what we want to know is track the amount of ingredients that we are giving our dog. We want to know everything we are putting into their little bodies, so that if something goes wrong, I can actually pinpoint and tell you what the dog is having, so that we can avoid that particular ingredient. Let me give you an example. If I give my French Bulldog a bag of dog kibble, and that dog kibble says dry chicken and deboned chicken, and the dog seems to have an allergy to that particular dog food, I can maybe try turkey or rabbit or ostrich or salmon, and I can actually divert from the chicken and try to avoid the chicken, because chicken might be a trigger. Whereas if I'm giving my dog meat and animal derivatives and a bunch of rice and a bunch of wheat gluten, we are giving our dog something that isn't specific and something that's inflammatory. So irrespective of what any manufacturer wants to tell you, whether that's grain-free, for example, that can be a bit misleading sometimes. Nowadays, dog manufacturers are putting 40, 50, 60, 70% potato, sweet potato, peas, or whatever in dog food. Yes, the dog food might be grain-free, but the amount of filler you are paying for is absolutely astronomical. So always read those ingredients and make sure your dog is set up for success in that regard. Choose a high meat diet and a carb limited diet. These will definitely help your dog succeed in life. If you spend the time to know about your French Bulldog's diet, what a dog needs to eat, what a dog should avoid, then your dog is going to lead a very happy life, believe you me. And if you want to learn more about dog nutrition and what's best for your Frenchie, I want you to watch this video next.